Don't know if you've been paying attention or even if you'll agree, but I think maybe Ray's is onto something with Automobilista 2, at least with the latest DLC packs and the updates to 1.6.8.5. Now, putting the word historical on anything in this century rubs me slightly the wrong way for personal reasons, but I totally get it. 2005 represents kind of the pinnacle of the pre-modern era. 2006 is when it was introduced, and over the next 4 or 5 years, GT3 became the dominant class internationally for global racing because of the balance of power, and the rule sets allowed these cars to operate within a rule set and more economically for manufacturers. So it became really dominant. And the same is true actually on the prototype side as well. The LMP1 of this era became extremely expensive, and you saw a lot of manufacturers slowly fade away because they couldn't keep pace with the expense of maintaining these cars. This created the avenue that eventually led to the GTPs that we enjoy today. This is where we actually are in terms of 2005 being a kind of the pinnacle of the golden era of racing, and why it's so important and why we're seeing a lot of titles now start to focus on this class of racing. Reza has brought up their game significantly, and this is exciting. All right, we'll start here with the LMP1 class and the Audi. Now this car is a lot of fun to drive. It's balanced. And dependable. And actually, this was actually true of the real car. In terms of the competition, the Courage and even the Dallara had a little bit more horsepower, were a little bit more exotic, and weren't encumbered by some of the rule changes that really put Audi at a disadvantage in this particular era. But despite all that, Audi still won a lot of races in this era, because they had a really good run book on the car, and it made it very dependable, reliable, and ultimately very competitive. Now, the Dallara LMP1 is a different animal entirely. It's using the same Judd power plant that's in the Courage, but is, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more milquetoast than the other two LMP1 cars. The Audi just feels planted and is a real joy to drive. The Courage feels a little bit more outlandish than this. But it's a good driving experience. It'll do in a pinch. But isn't my favorite of the three. Finally, we get to the Garage C60. Much more visceral drive than the Dallara, despite having the same power plant. It feels more dangerous somehow. A little bit more out of control. Probably a matter of setup and driver. Depending on my mood, if I were racing, I'd probably choose between this and the Audi. And for a long endurance race, probably the Audi 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. Just because of the smoothness of it, it doesn't tire you to drive it. This one you have to work at. But it is quick. And I think too, just because of the smoothness of the drive, I'm probably faster in the Audi. Okay, as far as LMP2, there are only two. Both are Lolas. One is a turbo, and one is this, the v1.6.8.5 V8. I prefer this one because it's a little less nervous, and I like the sound of it. I hear rumor that Lola's coming back to LMP2. Which would be cool, because they were groundbreakers in the day. I do really like this car. It's a lot of fun. Tremendously good car. The sounds are pretty incredible. As far as GT1 goes, I tell you, a lot of really great cars. This is the Viper. And while it's been heralded as being the favorite among a lot of the drivers that have reviewed this DLC so far, it is not my favorite of the pack. It's nervous on throttle. And you really have to manage your braking as well. This doesn't brake as well as it goes. It goes like stink. But I don't typically like driving a car that's quite this nervous because I kind of have a thunderfoot. Does sound really good though. Once you get the tires warm, it's not so bad. It was a poor entry and he knocked me around a little bit. Now, out of all the cars in this DLC, this Maserati is the only one that I don't ever recall seeing race. And I think that it was mainly participating in European championships, and it just didn't get a lot of coverage. It was not allowed to race at Le Mans for rules restriction reasons. May have actually eventually raced in Le Mans, but it didn't in 2005, or 2006 if I recall. Ferrari engine in this. And also not my favorite car as far as the GT1s to drive anyway. Definitely one of the more exotic looking cars. Now, the Aston Martin is a car in a different class. I drove this the first time, and it just didn't feel like I was getting any speed out of it, but then when I checked my times, I was proper quick. But it feels like you are on a leisurely, gentlemanly drive towards a very weak Martini, and maybe that's a good thing. Few GT1 cars are quite as iconic as the C5 Corvette. This car was an eargasm going to tracks. You could go to a track blindfolded and could pick out the Corvettes going by. And I will say that that is the one maybe minor disappointment in this car DLC, is that I don't think the Corvette is really done justice in terms of its sound. I think that was the Rise of Gods knocking me down a peg. Like the Viper, the Corvette is a tad nervous under acceleration and under braking. You have to be a little bit more precise, where you get turned sideways and have to catch it. Or fail to, as happens occasionally too. Which is actually quite true to life of driving real historics, is that you have to drive them differently. Why are you closing me off? You have to be ever mentally vigilant, present as it were, to drive the cars, because they like to get away from you. And they're analog. You don't have all the same aids that we have now, which makes these cars a really unique driving experience. The car that surprised me most out of this GT1 DLC pack is the Lamborghini Murcielago RGT. And it surprised me for a couple of different reasons. One is it sounds absolutely amazing. But second, it's a tremendously fun car to drive. More so than many of the cars that I expected to be my favorites in this pack. And if I had to put my finger on why, I'd say that this car just feels nimble and fun, ready to party. And we all know how much fun that can be. BMW M3 GT-R. It's also one of the surprises in this pack for me. I don't really like BMWs as a rule, but this is a really, really fun little car to drive. And again, sounds nice. I'm developing an appreciation for BMWs, slowly. This car does get a little bit nervous if you mistreat it. Like, that was my mistake, but boy, she almost punished me for it. Also, the thing of note in this car, too, is that while it's technically in the same general ballpark as the GT2 cars, it's not the same spec, so it's a little quicker than the GT2 cars that are in this DLC, which I think why they chose to class it separately as GT-R 2004. But you can add it in the mix. Makes for an interesting car. In the right hands, the other GT2s could beat this. So the next to last GT2 car is the Milano GT36. By any other name, a Ferrari 360. But for licensing reasons, Ryza included this as their own kind of rebranded, which they've done in the past, I believe, as well. Some of the F1 cars they couldn't get licensed for, so they named them something, and, you know, they're a facsimile of the real thing. So this isn't exactly a Ferrari 360. But that's kind of the car it's meant to stand in for. Sounds really good. It's free content, so you don't have to buy the DLC to get access to this car, which means that you can drive with other people that have the rest of the DLC and can enjoy it. So that's all good. And the other thing that's really nice is the car is fun to drive, controllable, and fast. So it's competitive, which makes it fun as a free piece of content. Which I think is pretty classy on Ryza's part. Make sure everybody gets to have the same amount of fun. car's got a lot of life to it. Very dynamic, you might say. Likes to move around on you. All of these drives have been default setups that have come out of the box. I haven't tweaked anything to make them more drivable or not. So I'm sure as more people do time trials, you'll find best setups. So, last but definitely not least is the Porsche 996 RSR. It's a GT2 class car. And saved it for last because, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for Porsches, and I'm really, really glad that they included this car. This car reminds me of Jörg Bergmeister. Most famed for his 997 RSR runs in the American Le Mans series with Flying Lizard. Along with Patrick Long. But I think that Patrick Long was not with the team when they were driving the 996. I could be mistaken on that. But I think it was Seth Neiman, and who was the Flying Lizard's owner, and Jörg Bergmeister that drove most of the events when they were a GT1 or no GT2 classed car, GT2. This car's fun. Tail happy like the older 911s, but a lot of horsepower, a lot of fun. Until the tires warm up, she likes to slide around quite a bit. Now, I've driven exclusively on the 2005 version of Road Atlanta, primarily because it makes for a really quick lap, so I could drive all the cars and put this together. I will be continuing to drive this content because I want to drive the 2005 version of Le Mans and, of course, the 2005 version of Spa. Le Mans isn't all that different from the modern track that we all know and love. Put his nose off. That wasn't very nice of me. And go, dude. You gotta hit the brakes to gift it to you? That's uncool. Spa is very, very different. It's got a very, very tricky chicane that they only ran for, I think, a couple of years, and is really tough to drive if you're not used to it. Still need to find my brake markers for that chicane to get through it cleanly. But a fun track. So we'll probably do a race at that track here, AI race at least. Spa is always good for multi-class. This entire DLC pack is pretty amazing. All the tracks, of course, are good, but the cars are phenomenal. I do prefer some over others, as I've articulated. But they're all really a lot of fun. And well worth the $10 for the pack. And the only way we're gonna get Sim titles to continue to pull out really, really good historic content for us is to continue to vote with our money and buy what they do produce when they do stuff that is this good, this fun to drive. Don't sleep on it, man. Buy it now. As I said before, I think that Ryza, I think they've done something here. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Thanks for watching.